Hey everybody, it's finally done. Challenge 1 Fall Latin Workbook. This semester is a review of the concepts learned throughout Challenge A and Challenge B. It covers lessons 1 through 29. This workbook is going to be the most similar to the Challenge B Spring Workbook. So let me walk you through here. So the schedule is similar, but I did change things up a little bit. First of all, you can see in Challenge 1, Week 1, they're covering lessons 1 through 6. That's kind of a lot. So it's intended to just be a quick overview. The breakdown looks like this. I have each little sub-lesson within each lesson labeled, the exercises that go with that, the rule numbers, and the vocabulary. I'll talk about this in just a minute. So because there is so much here, there is no way in 1 week you're going to get through all of these exercises. So instead of me choosing for you, I opted to go ahead and list all of them. So basically my plan with my student is to decide ahead of time about how many exercises I want him to complete per day, and I will just either highlight or circle the exercise number that I would like him to do. So sometimes we will, for the sake of moving very quickly through some of it, depending on the exercise, especially the ones that look like, let me see if I can find one. Exercises that look like this, where this is definitely review. If you're a Challenge 1 student, this should not be very hard. I could have him verbally, I would get the answer key, and he would just verbally tell me the answer to all of these, and we could blow through that in literally a minute or two. So I will probably circle on here in one color exercises that he's to write out in his notebook, and another color exercises where he's supposed to come to me with the answer key, and he would do them verbally and I would just follow along with the answer key. Hopefully that makes sense. So all of the rules that go with the content in that particular lesson are listed right here. This is more than is provided in the actual text. What I did was, for example, it may not have said Rule 572 in here, but 572 does cover this concept. So there is so much stuff, y'all, in the very back of this book that, anyway, it's just important. So I went ahead and tagged them within my textbook, and they are labeled here as well. Then this column over here, vocab, in the textbook, it gives you the page number in the textbook where the vocabulary is listed. And then over here, this is different. So in the past, I would list pages that you could use in the workbook for either declining or conjugating or as copy work. So I opted to do it different this time because there is so much now. There's no way to list everything, and it just is overwhelming to look at. So I decided to create it more like a checklist. So within this 1 week, I have a day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And it's broken down into 4 daily tasks. They should spend time on flashcards, copy work, declining, and conjugating. So you could write the lesson number you wanted him to do flashcards. You could write the page number in the workbook that you want to do copy work, or decline and conjugate, whether it be noun and adjective or verb. Or if you just want to be, go simple, just have them check off that it was done. So whatever it is that you guys think would work well with your student. So I created basically 4 sections for each week, and it's listed as day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. I hope that makes sense. We'll look at a couple of others. So there are 3 weeks on this page. Some weeks it seems like there is a lot more information covered. Anyway, so there is the schedule. Let's go ahead and... Oh, I did also do a little bit of color. Added a little bit of color here. If there's a reading they're supposed to translate, that's listed. Sometimes there are some idioms, which it's helpful to have that because I would come across, why are they doing this? And then I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a special idiom. It does something kind of strange and different. So anyway, I went ahead and labeled those in the schedule as well, where they show up. Anyway, so Again, you have your noun endings right here. I did a color page. I also have a black and white page for people who like to copy them. Now, here's one thing that's different. There's no way they're going to go through and decline all of the nouns, all of them. That's just way too many. I counted them. There's like, I don't know, it's a lot in just lessons 1 through 15 alone. So what I did was I did a review. So lessons 1 through 15, I picked 1 or 2 nouns from each lesson and I put them there. And I went ahead and chose them because either they're ones that I know students sometimes get mixed up, or they follow different rules, or like sometimes like this one, well, no. Over here, like we have some regular stem, we have I stem, we have some of them that do different things, some of them that are just normal, but people tend to goof up the spelling, like the E versus the I in the stem here. Anyway, so there's just a few. So I did, again, about 2 per lesson. And then you have your chart where this one has all of the nouns from lesson 16 through 29. So just like the Challenge B Spring book, they're all here. There's space for you to fill in the blank. The thing I love about this is it's like an accountability for my student to make sure he's doing it. And also I can pull up the book and I can look and I can see that it's blank. He hasn't done it yet. Or, you know, it just helps me to keep up with it with him, what he's doing and what he's not doing. So anyway, there's that. And then with the adjectives, again, I did the same thing. There's a review section where I picked a couple of adjectives. Actually, I think I did 1 adjective per lesson, except lesson 7, because that one had the most. So I went ahead and did 2 there. There weren't a lot of those. And then here are pages for declining the adjectives in masculine, feminine, neuter. I don't usually make my kid do all of these. Sometimes I'll pick an adjective and I'll be like, do just the singular, or just the plural, or just the masculine, or I'll break it up. So, or sometimes he does the whole thing. So it kind of depends on the day and our schedule. I want him to touch it daily, but I also don't want to completely overwhelm him and make him hate it. Next, the verb endings. This is also in the Challenge B Spring book. I love these pages. They're great for copy work. So the chart's on the one side and the copy work page is on the other side. So they can take a plastic a protector sheet and take it, and if you cut it on the long side, you can slide it over the page. I can't really manage it very well holding my phone. And they can slide it over the page and then copy. So he can copy it multiple times a day, or however it is that you want to do that. You could, if you don't like using the protector sleeve, you can simply copy the page, like make a printer copy of it. But anyway, this has all of the verb endings, types of verbs that, not the types of verbs, but the verb endings that we're going to be using in this particular semester. So anyway, I tried to break them up a little bit. If you can tell with the endings, sometimes seeing the space between them helps them to recognize the patterns. So anyway, there's that. Now, I also have a left-handed version. My son's a left-handed kid, and so trying to do a protective sleeve with this spiral right here is kind of annoying. So I made a different version, a different PDF where I flip-flop these pages. So if you'll see, this is my right-handed version right here, and here is actually his left-handed version. So you'll notice if this is page 50 and 51 right here, for the sake of ease, I did not change the page numbers. So over here, it's going to be backwards. So here's page 51, and here's page 50. And that way, if you have a class of kids, they're all using the workbook, then you can just copy page 51 or whatever it is. Anyway, it was too much work to go through and change all of the page numbers. But anyway, there is a left-handed version with the copy work pages on the left side. So basically what they do, if they're copying that, you can have them do it where they're looking, Or you can have them do it this way and see what they remember. So that's up to you. So there are quite a few of those. As you can tell, we cover a lot of different kinds of verb tenses in this year. Then there are some of these pages that also have the meanings to go along with it. All of the same tenses that were just where we had the copywork endings. This one just has, it's just like a cheat sheet for what the word means. Anyway, and then you have your conjugating verbs. So again, to review lessons 1 through 15, I think I picked a couple of verbs per lesson. Actually, I think I did about 3 verbs per lesson. But for example, this verb, do it in the present, and this verb, do it in the imperfect, and this verb, do it in the future. That way we're touching different verbs, but still getting a little bit of a review. So anyway, and then you get the regular pages with the conjugating of the verbs. There's one page here, it's a blank one, where if you prefer to use the sleeve, they can just put a sleeve over this and use it however many times. Or you have this where there's one verb, it's already set up on here. So from lessons 17 through 29, every single verb is listed in here. So they would decide if it's an active or passive verb, or when they're conjugating, whether they're doing it active or passive, indicative or subjunctive, present or perfect stem. You'd write the conjugation, put your specific tense, whether it's present or perfect or whatever, and then put the rule number here, write the meanings. So anyway, there are a lot of these pages because, again, there's one for every verb. Now, one of the things that I purposely do is kind of the spacing is kind of big. Some kids write big. So it's hard to kind of cram into tiny little spaces. So I know it's kind of taking up a lot of paper, but it works for me and my family. Anyway, and that's originally why I made the books in the first place. So anyway, so we have all of these verb pages. Then we get to these vocabulary. So all of the vocabulary from lessons 1 through 29 are here. Again, it's set up copywork style. So you can, as a mom, sometimes I'll just pull this page and just run through them and quiz them, kind of like flashcards, just without the hassle of actual flashcards, pulling them out. Or I'll make him copy. And again, in the left-handed version, you can see it's flip-flopped. So the blank page is on the left. Anyway, so all of the vocabulary is here. Adjectives, nouns, verbs are, separated by conjugation. This whole page of irregular, the assume, there's so many different ways to conjugate that with different tenses. The relative pronoun, that one, I know that my older son, that was a little bit of a weakness. We somehow missed that, and so he struggled with it throughout the upper challenge years. Anyway, and then this page right here, I love this. This little index. This has all of the nouns separated by declension. And in this particular page, they're in order by appearance in the textbook. So you will see the page number next to it. So you can look up whether it's first, second, third, or fourth declension, and you can find the page number. They're now, actually, this is in order by how they show up in the textbook, and this is the page I probably use the most. They're in alphabetical order, but sometimes a verb has some strange, like this one right here. It's, I think, masculine in the singular and neuter in the plural, and if I forgot that and I wanted to look it up, there's the page number. I can go look at where they explained that. So I have that for nouns, and then I also have it for verbs. So again, organized by the order in which they'll show up. The reason why I did it this way is I can, just as a mom, I could just run through. I know that he's, if he's gotten through page 182, I know that he should know at least up to here. And that way I can quiz him that way as well. We do a lot of verbal quizzing over here. Anyway, and then here they are set up in alphabetical order. This is more if I need to hunt something down. Anyway, that's it. So if you are interested in this workbook, PayPal, $7, $7 to my email right here, amy.tellicet@gmail.com. and I will get one out to you. I hope you have a great day.